That's the bit. Right.
Nice.
So, yeah, we'll make a start if that's all right. So, most of you know Gav. I don't think you've met Gav before, have you, Simon,
Maybe.
or
Maybe.
you, Alex? But the
Yeah.
rest of us know Gav from old. But just wondered if you would start by telling us a bit about your background, family life, work, and
Cool.
thank you also for coming.
No, thank you for having me, and it's lovely to meet you all and see some familiar faces again. Some lovely, big, smiley, happy, wonderful faces. So I am Gavin O'Donoghue, as you can see in the top left, and originally from the northwest of England, a little village called Hambleton, just outside Blackpool. Um, Lovely mum and dad, sister called Alison, who's an absolute nutcase, and she's, but wonderful. Um, I so again, I kind of left there. It was not much going on. I mean, Blackpool's, brilliant growing up. I mean, taught me a few things, but actually, um, I went to Manchester University. I left there when I was 18, never really looked back. Met my wonderful wife there, studying a business degree. She was studying history. I'd graduated, and 22 years on, we're still together. But she's a Brightonian. She dragged me down here kicking and screaming, and then I've never wanted to move anywhere else since. So great decision. We have two beautiful little boys, Lex and Levi. Lex is my 12-year-old, Levi's my 9-year-old. We have a dog called Badger and two cats, Ratbag and Flea. So, who are both complete killing lunatics. So let's not talk about that. My wife sends me to clear up any presents that get brought in. Um, and I have worked, oh God, so I've worked in executive search, which is basically glorified recruitment in the financial world for about 20 years. Um, it's just basically placing bankers and glorified people. But do you know what? I've loved it and met some amazing people along the way. Um, Quite frankly, who have become some of which, so it's mainly in the nicer part of finance in terms of asset management, wealth management, lots of the management of money rather than all these deal makers and all these crazy people that you see badly tarnished in the press. Um, and I've actually, you know, become again so many have become very, very good friends over the years and actually thoroughly lovely. Um, the reason I'm here chatting to you is back in 2019, I got a melanoma on the side of my scalp when I used to have a shaved head. Not quite as short as yours, Simon, but it wasn't far off, I promise you. And I got it removed. I got the all clear on it. Um, and I had many, many, many more scans. But then about 2 years later, found a big old lump in my chest. Genuinely didn't think much of it. Thought I might have pulled a muscle. Because again, I've been given the all clear and found out I had stage 4 melanoma, which was in my chest, in my spleen, all over my liver, gone to loads of places. And so life changed a bit. And since then, I then immediately got put on immunotherapy treatment, which um, I hoped and prayed was going to work really well. It worked for about 18 months, and then unfortunately it stayed stable. It then spread to all my bones, so they had to take me off that. And for the last 2 years, I've been on a thing called BRAF inhibitors, which it's so gone from a curative treatment to a more palliative treatment, which has actually served me pretty well, but unfortunately doesn't work very well on liver disease, which is not so good. And um, a number of new tumours started developing in the last year, and to a point where, and I just before Christmas, and I've been trying to get on trials and do all these kind of things for the last year, but nothing's really going to come. Got some really bad news just before Christmas that again, um, some of my tumours had grown significantly, and I might have 3, 4, 5 months. So, but then wonderfully, I got some news which I managed to get on a trial, yay! And which has given me a big dose of hope. And there were some amazing cellular therapy trials coming out. It's called TILS. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. And so, from I mean, I know I'm rabbiting on, so please interject, tell me to shut up. But I literally then, I've been up to London loads. I've been getting tested to the max. My initial tumour I found in my chest, which has gone nowhere. I named Boris many, many years ago because he was a see you next Tuesday, and I wasn't particularly happy with it. And that one's going to go bye bye on my birthday, the 4th of Feb. I then hopefully will make it to the trials, which is it starts on the 23rd of March, and I get this treatment on the 30th. So, I mean, life's been pretty crazy, I have to say. Um, Dealt with a fair few headwinds, punches, not lots of good news all the way through this, right? Bits of stability, but it just melanoma seems to be a complete pain in the backside. No cancer is good, right? But it has been rather stubborn. Um,
The
and
trials it's
that,
fascinating though as well, doesn't it? It's how they're actually what they're going to do in order to try and fight
yeah,
the cells.
I can explain that for you. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. So there are these. I mean, I don't know if I mean, most of you may well know, but there's this obviously incredible increase in cellular therapy, um, which gives us all a lot of hope. And this treatment isn't really a trial; it's been a proven therapy in America for years. But they're trying to get it on the NHS, and they've been struggling. It's not been passed by the relevant governing bodies, but they keep teasing me for literally since about 14 months ago. They said, like, it's going to come, it's going to come, you're going to have a chance at it. And it is basically, they will remove my tumor. They will go into, so take a big segment of that, send it off to the US. They will then go into it and remove the killer T cells that have been fighting the good fight. And the ones that can recognize the tumors. But most of the time, your body just doesn't produce enough, especially if I've got so many now that they're fighting on many fronts and produce a huge amount of them. And because they are yours, they hope your body won't reject it. They will then send that back via Germany, apparently. I will then start the treatment. So 5 days of chemo back to back, three different types, but not to necessarily fight the cancer, but to take my immune system down to basically nil. And so you're very much confined away from. I've got want to see the kids for 3 months, 3 weeks, and not 3 months. Jesus, that's too long. But they then put that into your bone marrow and hopefully let it settle. They then give you, that's to put the tills in. They then give you actually, and it was wonderfully put to me. They initially said it's a bit like flu, and then one of them, the oncologist, corrected them and said, "No, it's more like a really nasty sepsis." I was like, "Oh, sounds wonderful." So that's so apparently I just shake and feel terrible for about 7 days. They monitor you and see how you can come through that, and then let you back out into the wild. I'm having had seems a bit weird, really, but well, they've said there's a 30% chance that it's going to work. It's a much higher percentage if you get caught earlier. But I'll take 30% all day long and bite your arm off backwards. I mean, I know for people in my situation, it is potentially save lives, right? So um, it gives. and it's stuff that we can kind of come on to in a bit in terms of just the psychology of hope and things like this, where you go, to be told that there's nothing and you're just gonna have to see out your days, it's really
Yeah.
pretty tough. I managed to kind of keep myself going and remain positive and, with wonderful support and, wonderful friends from Wolo, my own family, you name it, colleagues. Um, and but to hear that news was about as hard as you can get. I was still like, I'm still gonna have the best Christmas ever with my kids and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, fuck you. And then it was I got a funny story. Before again, I'm sorry if you've heard this, because I did this big old podcast, which I just finally took the courage to do so. Um, but I'd basically taken my kids back up north to see the family, and um, I got this. I basically lost my child. I lost my youngest, having bumped into my wife's family. Everyone had got together, and then ran forward, couldn't find him, absolutely started panicking, got this missed call coming, so this withheld number coming through, and I answered it, and it was the cellular therapy team from London. For having just been told there was no chance, there was nothing, and I said to the guy, I was like, "Look, I've never been so happy to speak to you, but I'm never going to make an appointment because my wife would have already killed me if I don't find my child." So he did fortunately call me back the next day, and the rest has been as history so far. So,
You never did find him, did you?
oh yeah, I mean, he's living in the squirrels in Manchester somewhere at the moment. You know, just a little northern Mowgli, and but no, he did come back like a boomerang, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Oh God." I was like palpitations, and I had like everybody looking for him. Um, so yeah, that's just a little intro. 20 minutes on, but um, what
But
would you
you,
like to go through next time?
well, you were saying about the positive attitude, and also you sort of said about, the trials, they say that there's a 30% chance, but when you think about a positive attitude and your mental health, that's got to add more percentage to that as well. And I just wondered how you keep that positive attitude and how you recognized it was so important on your journey, because to be able to live in the present moment with a positive attitude makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think default. I mean, like it's generally been glass half full, right? I mean, didn't help me not get cancer, but I think and maybe you always think, okay, I'm positive, and I've got a decent sized team and tried to lead in the right way and look after um, my team in the right way. What's been fascinating has been, I mean, look, we can look at, I think cancer teaches you loads about yourself, whether you like it or not. It shines the mirror big time. And what I thought was often positive was really interesting. I would teach it, and only through therapy. I started getting therapy really, really quickly after it. I'd never had it before. I decided I don't need it, but I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna have it just to kind of make myself more resilient and do these things. But actually, what it showed me was I talked to myself disgracefully.
Mm.
So I was really quite mean and hard on myself. Where I would treat everybody else with every shade of grey possible, incredibly binary of myself, which I use, I think, as a motivational tool, right? To stop myself procrastinating, stop myself being lazy, try and be, keep yourself driving forward. But it was my therapist who just went, "Oh my God, have you heard yourself?" And I was like, "What?" And it was staggering actually. And she said, I said, I've just done that for years. I'm so conditioned to do it. I don't, and I get on my team, I'll give them every way out possible. But I'm actually, and I look after them, incredibly compassionate, but I wasn't very compassionate on myself. It's funny enough, almost relearning and starting to then one be kind to myself. I was like, oh, this is weird. Um, and trying to be more present with that, where I was like, um, and almost well, what was interesting was speaking to my therapist, and she said, change that voice in your head. And I was like, okay. I mean, there's many voices in my head, but like but she said, who's the kindest voice you've got? And I said, probably my mum. Like, can't do any wrong with your mum. And so I started doing it. And I started being, and when I was having, when you first get the prognosis, I mean, I burst into tears. I was so devastated. One, because I genuinely had been given the all clear. I've been obviously, we all got stuff misdiagnosed loads of times about, with it. And then I don't have any frustration with that. It was just like, there's things happen like this, but I didn't think that I was going to be in the situation I was. And I was, and I couldn't, every time I looked at my kids, I was crying. I just have to go in the other room all the time. And I was just so devastated. And I thought, shit, this is like, I mean, I don't, you're just in shock. And so you just start trying to build little tools that you go, what's going to help me? And with immune, so definitely therapy helped way more than I ever thought. And I dip in and out of it all the time. I was quite intense for quite a bit of it. And now weirdly, I haven't seen my therapist much, but the relationship just morphs, right? And it becomes like a confidant, and you bounce. And I just sometimes just go in there to just let off steam. I'm like, right, I'm probably not going to take much away from this, but you're going to listen to me for an hour, and I'm just going to
You're
rant
getting
at
it.
you, right? And it's just been so cathartic. But I did realize, and you know where so you know it yourself. So when I got told about immunotherapy, and I was like, okay, never heard of it, but I heard this revolutionary treatment, um, certainly for melanoma, where and I evermore felt very very grateful because literally 10 years before, and it was my nurses telling me, which I was like, oh god, they went every single person who came in with stage 4 melanoma died. It was like there was chemo didn't work, radiotherapy didn't really work on it. So they had to try something different. And immunotherapy worked about 40% of the time. So it's almost revolutionized people getting through this. And I thought, okay, brilliant. So what do I do? And I then, so, so if my immune system is the key to this, I'm going to put that at the center. And then and again, like for a lot of chat with my kind of therapist, she was going, stop trying to control it. Like literally, like you can't control the outcomes. I said, I bloody can. If I do this, I'm going to get better. I said, this is my mindset. This is what I'm going to do. She went, but what happens if it doesn't outline? What happens if you get a bad scan result and you're putting too much pressure on yourself? All right, I'm going to try and control the controllables around it, and the outcome will be the outcome, right? But if I create an environment that's going to help me, and so I read all about radical remissions. I read Cured. I just went like, I'm going to read all the books and I'm going to learn. But I was like, nutrition, I'm going to get that right. My exercise right. Drinking the proper water. I mean, literally, you read all these kind of things, and spirituality, and doing kind of more mindfulness, and just all these different data points. And the part of it, I mean, again, the theory behind it was amazing, right? But I was still working full time and trying to support my family. Then you then trying to put in all these new things. And oh my God, I've started feeling quite stressed that I was
Mm.
like, they're not. you trying to form these new habits. And I was like, oh, yeah, where are my hours in the day? Like 90 hours a week of trying to look after yourself and do these other things. And I worked my therapist on it's like my current life, right? So trying to maintain what I'm doing because I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get through this. I don't need to change too much. What's the middle ground? And can I change? And what will the hours look like? And how do I kind of get the balance? And what is my if I could get rid of work, what would the perfect situation look like? And so we did a lot of this as well, and it was incredibly useful to then really prioritize. And then, but I then started, and I wanted to try everything. I wanted to go, look, I want to get through this as quickly as possible because that's going to give me the best possible chance of surviving. And so I did. But then you read more things, and then I met so Wolo came in quite quick, right? And the wonderful Rich, as quite a few of us know, was this amazing Aussie fella um, that unfortunately he got late stage prostate cancer. Like after, I mean, he finished a marathon, was in loads of pain. He's an absolute machine, but then he didn't even catch it then. But he collapsed, and so he was fighting it from day like it was in a really bad way from day one, but managed to get 2 years in. But he was getting seen at the same place as I was, and I basically heard all these tales about this amazing guy who's really inspiring, and I was like, I need to meet him at some point. But then I started doing acupuncture, right? Doing another kind of like right something else to help me, and then the lady who would only see women she said men have got bad karma, apart from one man. And she was like, I had to beg her to come to see me. And she went, all right, I'm going to see it. But I see one other man. And you two, actually, at the end of the session, you were a keeper. I'll put you two together. And then so I came across him. My God, I can waffle on, sorry. But I just found him so inspiring. And without knowing me, and she'd asked him if I could get in touch. And I sent him this little email about myself. And I said, I'm scared. I don't, stage 4 cancer, never been through it, don't really know. I'm like, you know, what do I do? What is there anything you'd recommend reading or thinking about or trying? He wrote me this amazing email, but he mentioned Warlow in it. And he mentioned how amazingly supported you've been. And I've never heard of you. Loads of people haven't, right? Until you really need it. And so I reached out, but I didn't follow through, right? I remember I don't know. You just think not for, it was just it was very strange, really. I felt that, but you know what, I'm going to be okay for it, but I'm going to do. I don't want to lean into and get support, but other people can benefit more, or maybe I'm still working, so I can still pay for some of these things, and I can do this and I can do that, and I didn't lean into it enough. But I knew about you, and then it was only when my cancer wasn't getting any better. It was stable, but it wasn't improving. I then took time off work and we went on the Wolo retreat. That again, Richard mentioned to me. You very kindly got me on. And again, in terms of toolkit, oh my God, that was amazing. That was actually in wonderful hindsight. So again, we did mindfulness, yoga. I got to meet the wonderful Kirsty and Jem and like so many other amazing people. And it was like, and obviously he's so wonderful self, Sam, and all our bean chat and inside joke. And then, but there was just the camaraderie. It was just so easy, and it was amazing to meet other people going through it. It was amazing to meet people who were looking after people going through it, so I could almost empathise more with my wife. Um, I mean, obviously Jen looking after her son, I couldn't even fathom that. Um, Paul, yeah, again with partners, it was just, it was so powerful. And Rich was in two minds to come, and we went together, wasn't he? And then I was like, "Come on, mate, you're coming with me."
Yeah.
I forced myself in. You got to come,
Yes, you
and
did.
I did.
It's like,
Honestly,
is there space? Of course there
the
is.
space, God's the
There is
space. Come
space. You
on,
have to fill
you.
out a form though, Gav. You can't just come.
Nah, I'm just going to rock up. Don't you worry about that. And so, um, but that again, so again, so we did all these different things. TRE, which I'd never heard of, this tremor release, which was insane. Like the fact that I'd read Gabor Mate, when the body says no, and like loads of these different things, but how certain emotions can get stuck in the body, and then I found myself crying. It's like, what's going on here? Like, people crying around me, and I was just, it was, but it was such a safe space, and it was amazing, and that when in hindsight now, looking back with 3.5 years of kind of knowledge under my belt, I had my largest um, shrinkage ever in all my tumors during that period of time, right? And what was amazing, and again, time to shut up, but I want to tell this little story because it was, well, I told it when I was there about this Bemo Rhino, right? Um, which became a little mantra, and one of the lovely Paul got me a little T-shirt about it, and hopefully it might help you guys. I don't know, but um, it was my cousin's a zoologist, and he said I've dealt with lots of animals going through cancer, and how immunotherapy had helped, and how it had eradicated so much of it because they live quite peaceful lives. And so it was like, how do I make, how do I kind of, well, what was very, very clear was make my life as relaxed and as peaceful as possible. And I've never felt peace like it after our retreat, right? It was amazing. I just felt so at one and calm, and we were doing loads of journaling, and we were talking therapy, and we sharing all these experiences, and it was a really so. And again, the Be More Rhino thing was more like because it was on rhinos and elephants, and he'd done it on all those different. He just said, you know, this has been really effective. But actually, because they don't have that much stress, apart from poachers, kings of the jungle type thing, and then that got compounded by I've got a friend who's an oncologist who just, I played a lot of football with him in the past, and I didn't even know because I'm obviously a man and I never ask anyone about anything in terms of their lives. But he was fascinating, and he would tell me, I was like, so the people coming in to help you, or so the people that you see who have the best outcomes, what are they like? And he said, they're the most zen. He said, they're the most relaxed when they come in. And I thought, obviously, shock, there's something to this because you just, you're limiting the cortisol levels, you're increasing the dopamine, you're letting your immune system work as well as possible. So, again, in the old toolkit, and I'd done body talk, which was amazing. I'd done Reiki healing. I've thrown the holistic kitchen sink at it, right? I've tried everything and Rolo supporting. I've done it off my own back and I tried everything. But what a lot of it came down to, oh my God, my long way of saying being positive, right? Was honestly, I love a tangent, was was also being relaxed and said, and it's sometimes easier said than done. Um, and so again, building the old toolkit, but also it's almost that, and in some ways, taking proactive steps to do some of these things is almost from your physiology or your psychology is like, look, I am trying to help myself, which gave me a level of comfort and almost gave me a level of calm that I was trying, right? Um, I'd also and honestly, I come up for air and tell them, and again, I'm just wary of the time as well. But just there was a because I taught a lot of positive psychology, so the industry I work in is quite stressful, right? You're working at tight deadlines, difficult clients. Um, so I taught a lot of positive psychology or different books I'd read to my team and me, right? And I was like, shit, this is the ultimate time to actually like eat what you're bloody spouting, Gavin. So, and there was a book I'd read and reread and reread and reread and taken different things from it each time called The Happiness Advantage. And it was, I don't know if anyone's read it, but it's still a little Bible, right? And that is that also tied into a number that, so again, building the tool set. Um, it was written by a guy called Sean Acor, who studied happiness at Harvard, right? And it was all about, um, if you get your people are looking, if you get X, Y, and Z, you're going to be happy, but that's not the case. You've got to try and get intrinsically happy before, and that will lead to success and various other things. And they talk about that, there's lots of things like fulcrum and a lever, which is again mindset and shifting that. And there's some incredible studies they talk about. There was one in particular, so there was a few in particular which I'd love to talk to you about and just give you some perspective on. There's one, it talks about falling up. And I've got a few notes. I'm going to just refer to in a second. But what, very professional. Um, and it was, so I've used this quite a lot. So again, you feel like, well, falling up as it is, right? So you might keep getting knocked back, but you keep progressing, you're growing, you're developing. And it was almost like choosing a narrative where hardship becomes a catalyst for growth rather than almost proof of loss. And and it was almost redefining success for myself. So what am I going to be happy with here? What's so before I was like long-term plans, achievements, some, creating money for my family, um, you know, trying to have control over my trajectory. And then falling what was more like success became because of some of the pain and some of the issues, you just like, right, being present for today. Um, it was I got this little saying called "Go Brave," which came to me from one of my clients actually about again his dad who went through cancer. But it was like choosing courage, right? So today I'm gonna be right. I know this is I'm gonna choose the courage and uncertainty, and I'm just gonna keep pushing forward. Um, a lot more. It's like that choosing love, but just consistently. So. And I tie this in to, I tell my kids I love them every day, bore the hell out. But I wasn't telling my friends. I wasn't. And what I've done, and it almost blended it into a gratitude practice we can chat about. But I'd be like sending them messages. I'd be like, I love you, and these are the reasons why, right? And
Oh,
and and so just lose, your vulnerability, your fear. Men are terrible at like telling each other they love each other and like all this kind of stuff. But like, and my mates would rather just rip the absolute. Well, some would rather take the mick and just. And actually, some of that was a brilliant escapism. We can talk about the kind of the social impact and the power of having lots of wonderful people around you. But um, but it kind of also helped for not redefining success was living in line with the values like now, but not like, oh, this is what's going to happen in the future and all this kind of stuff. So it made me way more present. And I was like, right. So like mini successes along the way. And I quite like, so again, it was anchoring almost kind of how the worth in how I live now, not almost like the quality, it's basically quality over quantity, right? So I was like, all about what I am doing now, um, versus again, keep planning and kind of going forward. And there was a few things that kind of came off the back of it again, where and this is quite again, please interject, tell me, but there was a brilliant bit about almost emotional flexibility where I thought to myself, I can blindly, especially when you're trying to keep a positive mindset with some of these things. Now, because I found, again, I had a great friend who unfortunately passed away again, again, going for 8.5 years. And I found he was almost positive all the time, but I knew it was toxic, right? I knew he didn't mean it.
Mm,
So, and I would have not arguments with him, but I'd be like, you just like, I know you have shit days. We talk about it, right? But like, you're putting on a front. Stop it. Like, you don't have to be this person you've almost created, right? And there was an emotional flexibility, which I thought you can both be vulnerable. So you can show fear, you can be scared, you can show pain, whilst also growing, right? So you can go, like, some days I've just had enough. I'm like, I just don't have the energy. I can't do these kind of things. But I can also keep laughing. I can keep, reading. I can keep, and I reframed a lot of, um, the whole journey itself, where you just think, I'm going to become an expert on cancer, and I'm going to about my own psychology and about all these things. And I also did things where, one of the best examples of that is I don't know if, again, Simon and Alex will know this, but maybe Jem and Kirsten might. But for 3 years, so I love my golf, right? I mean, Simon, we did touch on that because I did talk about Hollandbury, and like I had so the cancer was all over me, like in my bones, and so it went to my feet, and it was awful. There were some days it was so painful to walk, right? And so some days it was literally pain, but I had a goal and I was determined to get to the open qualifiers, right? I was big, big. So I was playing off about two or three, but I had to get down to scratch and below. And I was thinking, oh my God, like my body is not playing ball here. And if anything, it's getting worse. I got told I need 2 hip replacements because I got cancer in my femurs. It's in my knees. It's in quite a lot of my soft tissue. It's in my ribs. I mean, when it was like a comedy amount, but not very funny. And so I was living with pain every day, with frustration. But I was like, I'm gonna come on, you old carcass, you're coming with me. And like I'd go on walks and my feet would kill me after, honestly. And I'd go and see my golf pro and he'd be like, and I'd get in some new stuff on my spine. And he was like, I mean, like sometimes I swung through and I thought I was going to like snap my femur. I was really scary, right? But I managed somehow to get it down to a point where I I played in the Open qualifiers last year, and I I mean I was rubbish. I'll be honest with you. I think I got quite overwhelmed. The weather was shocking, but I could bring on my mates, and I was. Do you know what? It was almost the. I was like, basically, fuck you, cats. You've not stopped me. I'm going to keep getting better. I'm going to keep growing. And, but alongside it was okay to feel shit. I've had enough today. I can't bloody move. My feet are killing me. I can't, like, mentally, I'm exhausted. But I just wanted to kind of keep going. And that, it's a little example, but it's, and then I thought, how do I explain this to you guys? Because I was like, because rather it sounded like, oh, look at me, oh, I did this, but I, there were, but a lot of it then came back to almost kind of what I've been reading all the time, and almost like, and almost kind of educating myself on what's okay, right? From someone who's
mm.
very binary in terms of how they treat themselves, I was like, sure, a bit more grey here, right? It's like, again, being kinder to myself. And
I think, I think as well is quite often when, someone's diagnosed, there's always that question of why me, which comes with a lot of anger within you, isn't it? Why me? Why me? And for me, I think a turning point was, well, why not me? And why,
Yeah,
when I could get that out the way, then I could open the door to all those things that you're talking about, like the love and the positive thinking. When you can get that anger out of the way and you can accept that, why wouldn't it be me? And you
yeah,
can live alongside it like you've done, and then and you've lived your life alongside it with all that positivity. And the other thing that you were saying as well, I remember Sarah teaching us within the journaling that we don't have to be either angry or happy. We can, it's that and word that is really important that you were explaining.
yeah,
You can be really sad, but you could be really happy at the same time, or you could be really calm, but you could be actually angry about that. And it's okay to have that and to recognize them and to allow those feelings just to be, because we are only human at the end of the day, aren't we?
yeah.
So
So it's a big
yeah.
point. Um, I think I'm aware of time as well. So has everybody got a hard cut off at 9? Um, because I can just go through a few last points if that's okay. There's a there's a thing I do with my kids, um, which also again I apply to myself. And again, this is another thing that happens to that. It's called the Tetris effect. It was basically they did this study of people playing Tetris for about 24 hours solid, and all they could see were these shapes everywhere when they came out. But a lot of that applies to um, if you're looking for the negative, or if cancer gives you a lot of negative, right? Cancer makes you, you are in, pain, frustration, worry, anxiety, fear. And I almost kind of trying to do, and the scans and scanxiety and all these other kind of things. And then, but then what I do, so again for myself, is then what about just, gratitude, love, just a bit of humor. Even like some days you're having a nightmare, but you get a nice smile, or you've had a really nice meal, or you do something like that. And I was like, and it's mainly so when I do it with my kids, and I do it every night, or almost every night, right? And unless we're going to bed too late, and I'm going to get in trouble from my wife for keeping up too late. But it's become quite habitual, and we will assess the day. And I want them to scan for the positive, right? I want them to scan or where someone was kind to them, or where they were kind to someone else, or like even where they're upset. And then we can turn that around and discuss it. And so they'll leave. And because obviously the biggest, like you go, oh my God, I want to try to pass them some wisdom, and I'm scared that I might not be here very long. But I thought if I want to rewire their little brains to just look for the opportunities in life, look for the positive.
Yeah.
And it's been really positive for me and cathartic, and I've just yeah, well, I just thought I wanted to share that with you, and there's quite a few other kind of examples here, but there
We
was.
really want to hear about the
Oh yeah, I know.
A.
So the
Yeah.
what? Oh, the A,
Give
right? Yeah.
yourself the A.
Again, I've done lots on social support and stuff like that as well. But I will come to. Um, so this was from. So again, one of my wonderful clients. She's become a great mate. She's an amazing woman from Germany. She's just got the brain the size of a planet, but like she's so. Um, she's all, and we've bounced messages all the way through this. And she, can I just one thing before I go into that? What I think she's been amazing at, and I would definitely, and my dad does this, is one of my friends said, um, one of the ladies at work said, it was a great friend. She went, I don't really know what to say to you. Like I'm kind of like I think about you all the time, but I find it hard. And I said, lots of people do, right? I've got mates exactly the same. And what I then so I suggested was just write to them, but without any expectation of a reply, right? And tell him you love him. Just tell him you're thinking about him. Tell him, or you can tie it in from a gratitude perspective. Are you grateful for them? Something specific about what you've been through. And Adam Grant talks about. I mean, a lot. I could talk about Huberman and kind of like Adam Grant and the different ways of gratitude and what, but that is something where, and it's really powerful for yourself, but also for them. And it was specific around my dad, like, just sends me message after message about what's going on in his life, right? And she would just send me candles wherever she'd be. She sent a beautiful picture and things like this. And I thought, for people going through what we're going through, it's so lovely where you don't, or you're not always expected to reply. Sometimes I get some loads of lovely messages, but I'm knackered. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, what have I got? Copy and paste that, or just, and you want to be sincere and you want to, but sometimes, and actually, since saying that on the broader part, I've had loads of people just message me without any expectation. It's been so lovely, honestly, and I just think everybody should do that. Like, even cancer, no cancer, message people you love, or message people you care about and tell them why you love them, or tell them why they're important. And I swear that works both for you, but also the flip of it is the power of gratitude. Um, Huberman, and not to bore you, but he talks about one of the most physiological aspects of it is how you receive it and how it makes you feel. And I've had some beautiful messages over the years and stuff like that, stuff I've saved. I'm having really bad days. Sometimes I'll read some really lovely messages, and I tell you what, it makes you feel amazing. And it can suppresses with cortisol, brings on dopamine, oxytocin, like all the good stuff. So that was my little thing. Anyway, back to getting your A. Um, so the this brilliant book I got recommended called The Art of Possibilities, and written by, I'm going to check his name. I think it's the husband and wife duo, Rosamund Stone Zander and Benjamin Zander. And he was like the lead of the Philharmonic Orchestra in Boston, right? So, like, really creative, and they've got so many amazing examples in here. But what I loved, there was an element of it where he talks about, so he's still educating all these grade A amazing musicians with big old brilliant brains, but they were really struggling to um, produce their own pieces of work because they were so bothered about what results they were going to get. So he flipped it on its head and he said, "I'm going to give you all an A for this year, right at the start of it, but you're going to write to me about how you got that A." I thought that was brilliant. I mean, obviously, I'm not currently in a music class, but I thought I'm going to give myself an A for life this next year, right? I know I'm up against it big time, but I thought that, and wrote a lot about. I know, and obviously, it felt a bit cringe because I was like, but I just dead proud of how I dealt with like some of the kind of the almost the just some of the shit that's come my way, some of the headwinds. I know this is, but I'm really proud of my character. I mean, I'm sharing some of this stuff with you, but I wrote a lot, and I swear it was so cathartic. And it wasn't. I put a few notes around. I really thought about it from our perspective, because obviously that's very much an educational perspective. And I thought, and I just thought, it's not wishful thinking or manifestation. It's more. It's that it's like a radical decision to remove self judgment from the equation, right? So if you give yourself an A, right, and I don't. It's I came back to my friend, right, where he would put on, and I was like, I don't need to put on anything. I've already got my A, so I'm just going to be authentically me. Whether I'm having a shit day, whether I'm having a great day, I am smashing it, right? And what I loved, because obviously our self worth gets quite battered by this. Well, certainly I felt mine. And I just, so again, I stopped, and I just put some notes into Bergen, but I stopped grading myself and how well I'm coping and how strong I look and how positive I am and how much I can endure and started living from the assumption I am already enough. Right. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that's really, I thought that's really, like, not to say myself, but I thought it was really, I loved it because I just thought, you know what? Whenever you talk to friends and like just like, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm doing really well, and these are the positive things I'm trying, all this kind of stuff. Well, sometimes you just go, no, I'm having a mare. I don't want to talk like, but you know what I am doing, I'm proud of, and whether I'm having a good day, bad day, you name it, and it was almost like regardless of outcomes, like it's like I've got me A, and so whatever you perceive me to be, um, and I put a few points, and it was more, yeah, getting to your A means deciding that my worth is settled, so I'm free to live, love, show up honestly, whatever today brings. And there was a few other examples I've got, but I'm 1 minute to 9, and I thought that, like, if you go, I mean, that was the best, one of the best books, and some amazing things. Um, I don't know. Sorry, I've literally just chatted at you, and I
Well, we
wanted it to be a bit
wanted.
more
What
interactive.
we're here for.
Exactly.
I know, but like it's like, it feels weird because but just thank you, and it's just nice to chat and help if I can or whatever. Um,
I definitely think everyone's going to take away some nuggets of wisdom there, and I'm definitely going to go and write myself an A. I completely
so
love that, and I think it's really powerful. And I think once you've done it, like you said, whatever happens that day, you've got in the back of your mind, it's all
you've
right
you've
because
already
I'm
done it.
A. You
Yeah.
know, it's already there waiting for you for those times when you need it, and it's allowing yourself to be nice to yourself because I think probably everybody resonated with, I really talk to myself like a piece of shit. You know, we all do that. And I think that's how we're conditioned in society as well, that we've just got to do better.
Mm,
We've got to be better. We've got to
Mm,
work harder. You know, as soon as we go to school, we're put into sets. So we're already categorized that we need to go up or we need to do more. So I think that giving yourself an A puts you exactly where you need to be.
yeah.
mm,
And that's enough. Although I might give myself an A plus, but I just and I
9, maybe that's in a new system. It's all about numbers,
mm.
isn't it? But yeah, I'm gonna get A plus sounds good. Um,
I think an A is suffice. But thank you so much. And
um,
if anyone's got any questions for 10, you got a 10.
that looks like a 1 from here, by the way. So
It's zero.
oh,
It's actually a zero point 0.1.
0.1. I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Good effort,
Anything above
though.
a naught was good, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if anyone's got any questions for Gav, or I think we might need to have you back on.
Nobody wants that, but well,
Yeah,
nobody
you
needs it.
yeah, thanks so much, Gavin. That was really inspiring and really helpful to hear. But you mentioned you were on a podcast. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
good that you listen to?
thank. Well, yeah, happily, Sam Walker. I can send it through. I so I've done loads of pods for my kids, right? I'm keeping up most time because I think they're lurking around. More just of different people in my life. I did it with my mum and dad, which was amazing. And but I just felt that I hadn't ever done. So these were all private. I've done a load of, but it's been really, really like very cathartic. But I did one for just the broader world, and it was like But I met an amazing guy that, funny enough, through Wolo, had been very supportive through Wolo, had helped me with some podcast sessions, which I didn't even know it was him. I then said thank you. He invited me on his pod, called Sam Thomas, and he's a guy who talks about different. His podcast is called Different Hats, and we had just the most amazing chat for about 2 hours, and it combined a bit of like success and how that has evolved for me and what is important, all the way through to again some of my coping strategies and all these different things. So yeah,
I'll
really
send
more than
it to you
happily.
if you like.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's really good.
I
Really
mean,
good.
you've got to say that now, haven't you?
I
But
have.
yeah. Zero point 0.1 comes back up. So thanks, mate. But yeah, thank you, Simon, and just so lovely to well. Thank you for inviting me, and lovely to meet you, Alex and
Oh,
Jen.
thank you.
Obviously, you absolute ledge, and Kirsten, of course. Two of the others on the Bowler Retreat, who are just lovely, beautiful people.
It
So
was epic.
yeah, thank you for having me on, honestly, and yeah, happy to send some stuff or kind of answer any more questions or you name it if there's
Yeah,
anything else.
I think
Um,
if you could give us the names of the books that you mentioned and the authors, because that would
mhm.
be really useful as well. And
Yeah.
some of the some of the things that you mentioned that you'd got from certain links and stuff, I
Yeah,
think
sure, of course,
that would be really good as well. Yeah, because we all need a bit more rhino.
we do.
I remember being more rhino because Paul actually had it tattooed.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
know.
But I also, do you remember Stop, Drop, Roll? So yeah, that was good. We need some more Wolo retreats. That would
We
be
we we
really
do.
Yeah.
That was
that again.
amazing. Yeah, and
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming, Alex, as well.
Thank you so much, Gavin, for sharing. It was really insightful. Thank you.
no, my pleasure. Thank you for coming, and yeah, lovely to meet you all again for some of you, and for the first time. And I say, more than happy to help if you've got any more questions or just want, I don't know. I mean, again, I could have bored you for another hour easy. So there's definitely other books I found really inspiring that have really helped me as well. So I can send a couple through to you if you want, Sam. And
Yeah, and I do think that, genuinely we should have a part two.
okay, more than happy to. Yeah, nobody here is coming again though, so I don't know what we're going to do. They're all like, "Oh yeah,
I'm
that'd
sure
be
they will.
great." Yeah, with your 0.1s. So
That we could all share well-being tips, couldn't
definitely,
we?
yeah,
Yeah,
would love to. That'd be a great idea.
Nice.
we need to get Kirsten on as well and Simon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Well, yes, thank you all for coming. And yeah, I'll this is recorded, so if anybody wants a recording to watch it back at any point, that's absolutely fine. It will be on our website. So it will be there. Um, so yeah, thank you all so much.
yeah.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Sleep
Yes.
well.
Take
Everyone.
care. Bye,
Thank
Bye.
you.
dear. Lovely to see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye.
mate.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh, let's stop recording. Stop.